Charles moved to the corner of 24th Street, located in an area full of low to middle class houses. Here, because it's also low income, things do happen, but it's nothing like the constant chaos of the bricks. Well, while living here, Charles befriended a man named Dwayne who lived right up the block on 25th. Little did Charles know the seemingly friendly Dwayne had an arrest record as long as Crip Mac's vocabulary. Okay, so it wasn't that long, but it included some disgusting crimes that I can't say on YouTube. All I can say is that Dwayne is registered. Regardless, Charles doesn't know this and Dwayne is often at his house hanging out. They quickly become homeboys, and that takes us to May 11th, 2011. It's a Wednesday afternoon and Junior comes home to an argument right outside of his house. Dwayne and his father are yelling at each other over something that seems to be minor. So little Charles thinks nothing of it and heads to his room. Regardless, he doesn't want this kind of energy near his son, so Big Charles asks Dwayne to leave his house. Unfortunately, Dwayne doesn't respect his wishes and the two get into a squabble. They get it in front of the house, and from what we know, Big Charles beats his Obviously, Dwayne is now even more pissed and he decides to head back home. Big Charles is kind of feeling good about himself and he really doesn't think much of it, just another fight in the hood. But little does he know, Dwayne has a couple of screws loose. At 12:30 a.m., little Charles is asleep in his room and Big Charles is in the living room watching TV. That's when he hears a loud knock on the door, so he gets up, sees that it's Dwayne, and decides to let him in. He assumes that Dwayne is there to make peace or to apologize for the argument, but sadly that's not the case. Either way, at first, Dwayne plays the part and he sits down to talk with Charles. They discuss what happened for a few minutes until Dwayne's emotions get the best of him and he whips out. Police would arrive to discover Charles lifeless on the ground and Dwayne sitting on the couch. Sadly, there was no saving Big Charles and they were left to investigate Dwayne. So what happened? Well, we had an argument on the couch and things went bad. It's simple as that. So right then and there, police put Dwayne in handcuffs and take him straight to jail. For Charles Jr., this was a terrifying and devastating moment of his life, something you can never recover from. His father was his idol and he always dreamed of making the football team to impress him. So to experience something like this at just 12 years old, I can't even imagine.
He just died, you know what I'm saying? I was young, I was like 12, 13, so you know what I'm saying? We didn't get to do much together, like, you know? That shit with my head up. Like, that shit like, my family, his side of the family, it was just a messed up situation. Like, I was like, damn, like, people really kill, like, take somebody you love from you, like.
The tragic incident deeply affected Junior's outlook on the world as his heart was starting to turn cold. Understandably, after the loss of his father, he began fighting in school and spiraling down a bad path. His fights were on a daily basis, he started getting suspended, expelled, and even carrying a blick. Basically, without a father figure, little Charles started to act way too old for his age, even going to clubs at just 13 years old.
That's when, like, I jumped off the porch, like, I got my first gun and, you know what I'm saying, evolving and seeing, like, different stuff coming at me so fast. And my first clubs, I went to my first clubs, fighting and all type of crazy stuff. It was just a lot going on around me, like, okay, we walk in the clubs, like, we walking in every club, like, 50 deep.
At this point, at just 13 years old, he was already jumped off the porch and hanging with the older guys in the neighborhood. And in order to prove himself and impress his peers, he started to act completely wild. Kind of like a young Gangsta Williams, he was already known for letting that heat blow, and that's why he earned the nickname of Foolio. But even though Foolio was now fully in the streets, he remained going to school for one particular reason. The boy loved football, and at this point he still had Division I dreams. For this reason, he steadily kept his grades up in order to make the football team. So even after all the tragedies in his life, there was still hope for a young Foolio.